Hi, Vipin. Thank you so much for giving us your time and interviewing with us. For the viewers, may we request you to please share your journey and your story in your own words?
All right. So I graduated from Indian Maritime University with a bachelor's in nautical science in 2017.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, since then, I've been working with a Norwegian shipping company, Gear Bulk, and
Oh,
I've been working with them on different ranks since then. I gave my GMAT in 2020, and I was one of the few first online GMAT takers. Actually, I took GMAT online GMAT when I just started, and but I didn't apply in 2020 because I was very unsure of how things are going to pan out due to COVID, and also I didn't apply in 2020. I continued working,
mm-hmm.
and then I applied to ISB in round one this year,
All
and
right.
that's when I got in touch with the experts team as well.
Right. Okay, that's great. So, in your opinion, what are a few factors or the actions that you took made all the difference?
Okay, so the most important thing that I think I did and is very important is, being structured throughout the whole process and being organized. So how I started it, I first of all, I my full concentration was on GMAT. So
Mm-hmm.
my first and foremost thing was to do the GMAT, get a good score, and then move forward. So when
Okay.
I was doing GMAT, there was at the time also there was a lot of noise around, a lot of people talking about schools and everything, but my focus was only on the GMAT, that I'll get done with GMAT first, and then I'll look into shortlisting and other things.
Right.
So I prepared for my GMAT for about 3 months. I was on ship for about two of those months. When I came back, then I appeared for the GMAT. I got my score, and
Mm-hmm.
then my next focus was on the shortlisting the best possible schools, which match my career aspiration as well,
Mm-hmm.
and are good for me in other aspects as well, financially, geographically.
All right.
So then I shortlisted my schools, and although I ended applying only to ISP because it was actually the best suited for my career aspirations. But I did shortlist 4 or 5 schools. I would also advise other aspirants to keep it short and relevant,
Mm-hmm.
because the application process for different schools is a little different. Essays are different and they have different formats, so you may end up exhausting yourself or tiring yourself if you're applying to too many schools as well. So that's how I shortlisted my schools, and after that I talked to alums. First of all, I for the first thing was that I reached out to the alums from those schools.
All right.
I took their opinion.
Mm-hmm.
uh, how was their journey, how did they prepare, and I got some good tips, and that helped me a lot in preparing for my applications actually. So connect to the people. I'll also give this advice that connect to the people, connect to the alums who are from the schools that you are trying to apply and who are applying to.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, have a when you're applying, then have clarity on your goals. That is the most important things, because it's going to be asked in almost every application or almost every interview that you'll go through. What are your career goals and how do the particular college fit into those
Mm-hmm.
goals? How will they help you? What are your plans on achieving those goals? So having clarity on your short term and longer term goals is very important actually before you start applying.
Right.
Uh, Once
Okay.
you have the clarity on your goals, then you can start applying. Then I started applying. The first thing I did was working on my resume. Uh,
Right.
I took the help from experts team. They helped me, format my resume that in such a way that it really highlighted my strengths and achievements. Identify my weak. It also helped me in identifying my weak areas as well.
Right.
Uh, then after my resume was done, then I dived into the applications. So when I started my applications, the first thing was to complete the essays. Once I was done with the essays, then I filled out the LOR forms.
Mm-hmm.
I chose my recommenders well in advance before starting the applications, and then I asked them to write my LORs as well. Once my LORs were done, then I applied and I waited for the interview shortlist.
Right. Okay. So, with the benefit of hindsight, what are a few mistakes you believe you committed in the process?
Okay, so one thing was that don't lose momentum at all, because the application, when I started applying, because I was also thinking to apply to 4 or 5 schools. So when I started my whole process, then there were few schools where the application format was a little different. So one day I was preparing the application for ISB, the next day I was preparing the application for Mannheim, and there was a lot of difference in both those. So sometimes you feel a little exhausted, and you tend to lose the momentum. So don't lose momentum at all. Once you start the applications, then maybe you can rest after the applications are done. But I did lose momentum because I feel like I wasted a few days in between. So I would say don't lose momentum.
Mm-hmm.
And once you have started the applications, just
Yeah.
complete them, and then you can maybe take a break.
Okay. So, coming to the preparation of GMAT, what were the main resources that you used, and what kind of advice would you like to give to the future candidates?
So when I was preparing for my GMAT,
Yeah.
I used the official. There were 3 books that I bought. I
Mm-hmm.
bought the official guide, I bought the verbal review, and I bought the cont review as well. So I prepared from those 3 books.
Mm-hmm.
I was on ship for the first 2 months when I started preparing for my GMAT. So I took my books along with me on ship, and I was preparing for the from those books.
Right.
Official guide I found it very helpful because there was a lot of explanation about the questions and everything, how we approach them. And then I gave a lot of mocks.
Right.
And one thing that I found very important during the giving mocks and preparation was to maintain a check on your errors, maintaining an error log. So
All right.
whatever mistake you are doing in mocks, so whatever mistakes I was doing in my mocks, what I used to do that I used to go through that mock again,
All
note
right.
down my mistakes, what are the areas that need more improvement, and then I'll work more on those areas. So it was very important to go back to your tests and identify your mistakes, identify your weak areas, and then you work on them.
All right. Okay. So, according to you, what is the frequency of mock tests that the aspirants should aim for?
You don't want to overdo it as well. You don't want to overdo it as well. So you cannot be taking three mocks or 4 mocks in a day. How I used to do that,
Mm-hmm.
uh, I think I bought 8 to 9 mocks somewhere. So right before my GMAT. So my GMAT was on 15th of June. So 20 days before my exam, so I made a schedule that
Okay.
I'll take 2 mocks on this day, then I'll take 1 mock on this day. So my plan was to take 5 mocks in a week, basically.
Right.
And so I divided those 5 mocks over different days. I took a day break in between, and I just only took 1 mock a day, because then I'll go back to the that mock over again, and I'll identify the mistakes and I'll work on those mistakes.
Okay.
So I would say not to overdo it. One or a couple of mocks a day is more than enough, I guess.
Okay. Okay. Great. So, what are a few common mistakes you believe the GMAT aspirants must avoid?
Okay, so for the GMAT, because the first thing is that when you are applying for GMAT, there might be too much noise around you. Because when I was applying for GMAT, I was a little new,
Mm-hmm.
and there were so many people around me who were, who have already given a couple of GMATs and who have been learning. And I used to sometimes, look at them, and I was a little scared that maybe I'm not up to that level. So don't get hesitated, or don't feel scared when you look at other people that, okay, they are doing so much and I'm still not doing much. Just believe in your strengths and formulate your plan according to your strengths. Actually, don't look at what other people are doing. And same goes for the application process as well, because everybody's journey is different. Everybody's has come from different backgrounds.
Yes.
So you need to formulate your process according to your strengths and what your background is.
All right. Okay. So, can you tell us more about your experience and learnings from managing the application timelines?
Okay, so managing timelines. So first of all, you have to, shortlist your schools where you are applying to. So
Right.
that is very important, how you shortlist your schools, because as I've said before, the application process tends to differ for different schools. So shortlist your schools wisely.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you have shortlisted those schools, then make sure that you have a chart ready, that you have those schools in one column, then you have deadlines for those schools in one column, and you structure your application in a very timely manner, because first you spend the first couple of few days on your resume, then you spend a couple of days on your essays,
Mm.
and I would say just don't lose momentum.
All right. Okay. So, can you please describe your interview experience with ISB?
My interview experience with ISB was very good actually. So the panelists made try to make it really interactive. They tried to make me really comfortable,
Mm-hmm.
and they really wanted to know about my background. They really wanted to know about what I have done so far, what I have achieved so far, and they were also interested in knowing some examples and instances from my professional career where I've shown some strengths and where I've also learned about my weaknesses and how I have worked so far to overcome those weaknesses as well. So it was a lot based on my background, professional background, and also for particularly for ISB, I will say the interview was um, they had my application, so they have read my application thoroughly. So what I have written in my essays was very important. So whatever you write in an application, whatever you write in an essays, make sure you have gone through that
Mm-hmm.
at least 5 6 times. You are
All right.
completely thorough with that, and you have some examples, you have some instances from your real life work experience to back those things up.
Right.
uh, so it was mostly based out on my application, what I filled in my application and my work background. So I come from a very non-conventional background. So they were very interesting. They were very interested in knowing that how things are done on a ship, how do we run those ships, and what type of cargoes we carry.
Right.
So it was very comfortable. They made it very comfortable.
It's quite interesting, actually. What are a few suggestions and your final message to all the viewers watching this video regarding their complete journey of GMAT prep and the MBA application process?
I would say that whenever you are starting the GMAT journey, actually, well, I'll start from the beginning. So whenever you start from the GMAT first, and I would say practice as much as you can. Don't overdo it. Maintain an error log. Go back to your mocks where you have identify your weak areas and work on them,
Right.
and then have clarity. Have clarity that why do you want to do an MBA? Why do you want to spend so much of time and money on MBA? Why do you want to go up to a particular school? What does that school has to offer to you that will help you in achieving your post MBA goals? So clarity on goals is very, very important before you start the application process. And then slowly you work on things, work on your resume, make sure it really shows who you are, what kind of work you have done. It highlights your strengths and achievements. And then you slowly dive into applications, take care of the essays, make sure you have really, highlighted your strengths in the essays and you really show what you are, because specifically for ISP, they're gonna ask you questions from your essays, what you have written in essays. They're definitely gonna ask questions from them.
Mhm.
So make sure you are thorough with whatever you have written and you have instances to back those up as well.
All right.
And just don't lose momentum, because the application processes are tiring, because you will be writing essays, you will be writing recommendations as well. So don't lose momentum and give it your best.
All right. Okay. So thank you so much, Vipin. I'm sure your suggestions and tips are going to help a lot of other students in preparing for GMAT and application processes. Thank you for giving us your time and all the best for your MBA journey.
Good luck to everyone who are in the process of applying in round 2 or 3, or who are going to apply further
Right.
in future. So
Yeah.
good luck to everyone.
Thank you so much and take care.